Someday I'll find you, moonlight behind you, true to the dream I am dreaming. As I draw near you, you'll smile a little smile. For a little while, we shall stand hand in hand. I'll leave you never, love you forever. All our past sorrow redeeming. Try to make it true. Say you love me too. Someday I'll find you again.
Hello, everybody. I'm Craig Johnson, and welcome to Literary Lockdown. Now, I know we are not supposed to feel compelled to be productive during this pandemic quarantine time, but I do just want to mention that Noel Coward made his professional stage debut when he was 11 years old. And during his long career, he wrote 37 plays, 17 musicals and reviews. He appeared in 27 films. He wrote and had published 21 short stories, a novel, a couple volumes of memoirs. He composed over 300 songs. In the 1950s, he was a big smash hit in Las Vegas, of all places. He recorded several albums, and he did a number of TV specials. All the time, he was continuing to work as an actor and as a director. One of my favorite stories about him, too, he could be a really nice, good friend, and he could also have a little bit of a sharp tongue. In 1956, he was doing a live TV broadcast of Blithe's Spirit with Lauren Bacall as Elvira and Claudette Colbert as Ruth. And unfortunately, they were getting down to the wire. It was live, and Claudette didn't know her lines that well. The day of the live broadcast, they did a run-through, a dress rehearsal earlier in the day, and Claudette wasn't very good still. So right afterwards, she came running up to Noel, and she said, "Oh, Noel, I don't know what happened. I knew these lines backwards last night." And he said, "And that's exactly how you said them this morning." Well, be that as it may. Oh dear, this isn't quite right here. Hang on just a moment. I did actually want to talk about one of his songs. Noel Coward, it seems to me a lot of times he sort of wrote in two veins. One was these sort of lush operatic kind of songs. If Love Were All might be the best example of that. But he also did a lot of really wonderful patter songs too. One of which is called I Went to a Marvelous Party. That was introduced in 1939 by his good friend Beatrice Lillie in a musical review. And it was inspired by a party that Noel and B attended in the south of France that was hosted by the American gossip columnist and socialite Elsa Maxwell. They were told, "This is just a come-as-you-are beach party." And when they arrived, everyone was in formal evening dress, which I think is actually the plot of an episode of Bewitched, if I remember correctly. Anyway, be that as it may. It's a great example, I think, of Coward's sort of speak-sing kind of patter song that he did really, really well. Mad Dogs and Englishmen is probably the best example of that. And this one, I Went to a Marvelous Party, is usually just recited over a piano accompaniment. But got no piano here, too. And you're not going to get me to sing, too. You can get Gary Briggle to do that. But there are lots of recordings of this song, including Beatrice Lillie's original one, and Coward himself, for that matter. Anyway, I think the lyrics are a pretty merry send-up of the sort of posh society of the 1930s, and I think it's a good example of Coward's kind of clipped rhymes and the sort of rhythm and little breaths and phrases that, makes his plays and his lyrics really, really delicious. So, I Went to a Marvelous Party by Noel Coward. Quite for no reason. I'm here for the season and high as a kite. Living in error with Maud at Cap Ferrer, which couldn't be right. Everyone's here and frightfully gay, and nobody cares what people say, though the Riviera seems really much queerer than Rome at its height. Yesterday night, I went to a marvelous party with Nunu and Nada and Nell. It was in the fresh air, and we went as we were, and we stayed as we were, which was hell. Poor Grace started dancing at midnight and didn't stop singing till 4. We knew the excitement was bound to begin when Laura got blind on Dubonnet and gin and scratched her veneer with a Cartier pin. I couldn't have liked it more. I went to a marvelous party. I must say the fun was intense. We all had to do what the people we knew might be doing 100 years hence. Dear Cecil arrived wearing armour, some shells and a black feather boa. Poor Millicent wore a surrealist comb made of bits of mosaic from St. Peter's in Rome, but the wait was so great that she had to go home. I couldn't have liked it more. Oh, people's behaviour away from Belgravia would make you aghast. So much variety, watching society scampering past. If you have any mind at all, Gibbon's divine decline and fall seems pretty flimsy, no more than a whimsy by way of contrast. On Saturday last, I went to a marvellous party. We didn't start dinner till 10, and young Bobby Carr did a stunt at the bar with a lot of extraordinary men. Dear Bubba arrived with a turtle, which shattered us all to the core. The Duchess passed out at 2:45, when suddenly Cyril screamed fiddle-dee-dee and ripped off his trousers and jumped into the sea. I couldn't have liked it more. I went to a marvellous party. Elise made an entrance with May. You'd never have guessed from her fisherman's vest that her bust had been whittled away. Poor Lulu got fried on Chianti and talked about esprit de corps. Maurice made a couple of passes at Gus, and Freddie, who hates any kind of a fuss, did half the Big Apple and twisted his truss. I couldn't have liked it more. I went to a marvellous party. We played the most wonderful game. Maureen disappeared and came back in a beard, and we all had to guess at her name. We talked about growing old gracefully, and Elsie, who's 74, said, A, it's a question of being sincere, and B, if you're supple, there's nothing to fear. Then she swung upside down from a glass chandelier. I couldn't have liked it more.
In Bengal, to move at all is seldom if ever done. But mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday, 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 out in the midday sun.